What's good? This is Joseph 3 Banks, aka J3, coming at you with another Run the Comics. And man, I'm gonna tell you, this haul right here, which I just picked up, is a great collection of new and back issues, which really have me looking at tightening up my collection. Really trying to get the runs which I am trying to, or the arcs, the story arcs or the comic runs which I'm trying to get together. Really have me filling up some holes, so I really like those. Plus I have some good covers, some great reads, so I'm ready to really show these off to you. So without further ado, let's show you what I got. First off, the first two I got from my daughter, and I may have her, when we do our video where we're gonna both be reviewing comics, I think I may have her review one of these or maybe both. But the first one is from Graphic India, issue 1 of Dragonfly and the Global Guardians. I saw this, like it's a girl team, so I thought it'd be a great book for her, so I got that. And next is a from Action Lab Comics, is a comic called PrinceLess. I think it was called Prince X. Now it's called PrinceLess. It's number 1 of 4. I actually saw all 4, but I'm gonna get the first one, see how she likes it. If she liked it, I get the other 2. Both of those comics for $1 at my LCS. Next, we have Frankenstein, 2 of 4. I got hip to the Frankenstein. It's the 7 Soldiers version. I got hip to this after reading this Frankenstein, the Doug Monkey Frankenstein, how he was utilized in Superman Rebirth with him and his wife, which I forgot his wife's name. She had like 4 arms, 6 arms. But Frankenstein and actually my LCS had all 4. But I said, let me just get the number 2 for right now, since I had a lot of others which I wanted to get. So it's a really dope cover, monkey style, really shows in that. But it's a really interesting character, so I thought I'd get that. Next, check, all my, especially the new 52 lanterns, anything that's lanterns, whether it's Green Lanterns, Green Lantern Guardians, Green Lantern Corps, Larfleeze, Sinestro, I'm getting number 0 and number 1. So this one's no different. Red Lanterns, number 0, Petrosis on the cover. Tough, really dope character, bringing out that hate. And in the same vein, I found this for $1, which was very cool. I've been looking for this one too. And this is a encore presentation of PITT, Image Comics, number half. PITT is very hard to come by. I'd be finding tons of other old Image Comics, but PITT is very difficult to come by. I'm glad I found this one. Just happened to just find it while flipping through the long boxes, but very happy to add that. Continue on with my PITT collection. Next one, I saw, let me get this. This is an interesting cover. And it's Justice League of America number 1. This is the 2nd printing. And it has all of the Justice League members and someone holding a member card, which is says hereby elects. I guess they're trying to find out who's going to be the leader or somebody. But Brad Meltzer was the writer, and Ed Bennis is the illustrator for the covers and also the interiors. Next, I have number 2 of this. I said I'd get number 1, and I found number 1. Wildcats. Number 1, Image, back in the 90s. Jim Lee. You gotta do it, So I'm finally getting those older Image titles. Now, as you know, I'm a Green Lantern fan. I'm gonna keep reminding you guys. I'm gonna keep reminding you. I have the other number 1, which I think is I think there's both considered the first cover and first printing. We can't have 2 first printings and first covers, but this is Green Lantern number 1. Jeff Johns run. But I have the other one, which I think that one may be a variant actually. But Green Lantern number 1 is from 2005. Yep, 2005. And continuing on with the Green Lantern, Final Crisis, the director's cut, number 1, J.G. Jones, illustrator, Grant Morrison, writer. I want to get the other one though, the regular cover. I am still looking for the regular cover, but I found the director's cut, so let me go ahead and get the director's cut, which is like all just inked, beautiful J.G. Jones illustrations, and then at the end gives a breakdown of the scenes by the writer. And speaking of Final Crisis, I found number 2 of 7 with the Flash on the cover. Beautiful cover, J.G. Jones. Now we get into the newer books, which I had to get through. Mr. Miracle, I gotta get that Mr. Miracle number 3. The Mr. Miracle number 3 cover is dope, both of them. But this is number 2. It's a 12 issue miniseries, and I thought those were dope covers. So that's Mr. Miracle number 2. Really creative, interesting story. Written by who's it written by? Written by King. But really interesting story. Next, Super Sons finally came out. Super Sons number 9. A World at War. Really good story. Good chemistry between Damian and John. So I love their chemistry. This is just a dope story overall. And staying in that same vein, Superman number 33, Imperious Lex Part 1. This is going to be a very interesting arc. We're starting on this new arc about the Imperious Lex. I want to know what's going on. Is that a cosmic cube? And what's her name? Not Mama, Big Mama, something like that. And this other guy over here on the side. I want to get the other cover. Other cover is just as dope with this guy right here grabbing John Kent. Like, I may still get it, but haven't pulled the trigger on that. Next, it finally has come out, which I'm glad. Another number 9, Curse Words, number 9, Image Comics. Was wondering when this next issue was going to come. It's finally come out. Really dope cover by Brown after Moore. So, really dope. And lastly, and definitely not the least of them, is one which I've been waiting for. And I just want to say, these tie-ins have been awesome. I'm talking about Dark Knights. Dark Knights, number 1, Batman the Drowned. And I just want to tell you, Fabic is the illustrator. I think he does all the covers. Fabic, but all of these tie-ins of each of the Batman characters has been awesome. From the Flash one to the Murder Machine, and then the last one I really love because I'm a Green Lantern fan was the I forgot what it was called, was the Green Lantern Batman. All those stories have been awesome. So I have high hopes for this. I have high hopes for all of them, all these tie-ins for Metal. And they're actually, in my opinion, they're better than the main Metal story. The main Metal story is, they're trying to do a lot with these Metals. And I don't know how this is going to end. With these events, I don't know how they're going to end. And the one thing, I'm going to talk about in another video, but just briefly I want to say this. Events usually happen because you want to tell a story about something which brings in the entire universe. The problem is that sometimes your events are becoming your line. So, as you know, for example, with DC we have Rebirth. But, if you notice, Mr. Miracle is not Rebirth, it's just regular DC. Plus you have the other DC line which has like Doom Patrol and Mother Panic, which is the other line. These stories aren't in Rebirth. So the question is, and we have the Doomsday Clock coming up, I think in November or December for DC, which is bringing in the whole Watchmen into the DC. And I think they should, hopefully the writers have a big scope on how they want to do things. But the question is, how are these things bringing continuity? I know continuity is a word we've used many times. Many times when dealing with comics. And but how is all these things helping with continuity? Go with Marvel too. You had your generations, which want to talk about the different, you know, the new with the old. Then you have this legacy. Was legacy just gonna be for a certain number of issues, or is legacy the actual what Marvel is doing now? Marvel Legacy. And but there's still gonna be Marvel titles coming out that are not legacy. Just like there can be DC titles coming out that's not Rebirth. And then also with Rebirth, how is the Dark Knights? Like I said, all this continuity. The Dark Knights is taking everything that's happening in metal. It's supposed to be happening all around the world. Even though we have other multiverses being, you know, brought in, then you have this dark multiverse. And the question is the things happening in the dark multiverse, or is it the regular continuity? And if that's the case, then at the same time we have all these other things with Superman and all these other stories that's happening. But when did those things happen? Before the metal or after? And how does the Dark Knights or the Dark Universe coincide with the Doomsday Clock? So all these things, it's like these are great stories, but sometimes when you're looking at these stories, like, okay, when are these things happening? What's the timeline? And of course, you know, sometimes they just look at the stories as a story. Just a Dark Knight story, look at it as a story. Everything happened in Rebirth, look at those as just the Rebirth titles. And then things that happen in Doomsday Clock, that's just. But unfortunately, with the way they did the Rebirth, it's supposed to be a big change for DC. When it comes to Marvel, when it comes to Legacy, after you had the Secret Empire, which is this thing that's shaken up with Captain America. And also we have Generations, which bring these two generations of heroes together. And now you have Legacy, which is kind of building off of that. How are these things being, and unfortunately, you know, with our minds, you have to look in continuity. You can't just be like, well, they're just stories, we're just gonna put these together. Others we have over here. Our brains don't work like that. So I'm sorry I'm rambling, it's my little rant. But I'm gonna probably talk about it more and probably just have some books which I actually talk about it through. Or I may just cut all this out and put another video. Nah, I keep it in. But this has been Joseph 3 Banks, aka J3P. My comic haul plus some extra words. Comment below if you agree, disagree, have some more thoughts on this. And let's keep it moving. Share, definitely subscribe, have more coming. Talk to you later. Grace and peace.